Hey, good morning, guys. Mark here. I wanted to make a video talking about a few things and to clear up some stuff and also make the announcement that I'm going to take a sabbatical from the show. Um, it's pretty sad how the environment online has gotten, the vitriol, the inability of people to be able to communicate without throwing mud, without getting triggered over the smallest things, and not being able to deal with things as adults. Um, I'm a little bit hoarse, and my voice is kind of. I've got some sort of sinus thing going on, and I don't have any tonsils. So whenever I get any sinus drips or irritation, it affects my pharynx. So please excuse the if I sound funny or anything of that nature. But anyway, I digress. I digress. I Twitter has become very toxic in all sorts forms of communications. Besides the fact that it's a limited space platform where you're trying to express certain views and things, and you're being um, limited by the amount of characters that you could write, anything that's in written text form loses the proper tone, and people become agitated and get upset over what one says. Um, I want to make a few things clear. Number one, I don't have anything against detransitioners. That would be asinine. I was a detransitioner myself. I detransitioned 6 times. What I'm against is detransitioners being used by certain groups like the Christians, the gender criticals, the conservatives for their political plight and need, and to create an environment that's very anti trans. You may not see it, you may not understand it, or you may be oblivious about it, but that is what's happening. So um, we've made certain comments to certain detransitioners that we have interviewed. And these individuals obviously have issues already, so they become triggered easily and upset, and then get their little gang behind them to start agitating, throwing mud, being rude towards Lynn and I. I could handle it greatly. I don't give a rat's, you know what. I mean, I'm 58 years old. I've been at this since 2003. I don't care. It doesn't bother me in the least. But it bothers Lena. Certain people have, they're more defensive, they're more sensitive towards things, and it just, some people just can't handle it. And then it's one of those people's. So, I mean, it may get to the point where I write comments on videos that I watch, like a carnivore channel. And, we have dabbled in the carnivore diet for a while. And I wrote something to the extent, the carnivore diet's a fad diet, and it's really not a healthy diet to be on long term. It's a great elimination diet if you're trying to heal something and you just want to find out what is actually giving you any type of allergies or disruption in your gut and so forth and so on. But it's not a diet to be on forever. It will harm you. You will have lack of nutrients. I personally prefer a plant based diet. That's how I feel the best. I'm able to eliminate when I'm on the carnivore. I can eliminate, and all that backup toxin isn't good for your body. But to make a long story short, somebody goes in there, they look at our channel, and they see we're transsexuals, and they have to end up making some rude comment about transsexuals. This is what this climate has brought on. People that are anti trans and they're trans themselves or critical of the trans community have empowered those that are not trans to be rude to transsexuals. This is what you have accomplished. I've been at this game since 2003, and I have not seen such a violent, disgusting environment as there is now. And that's thanks to the gender criticals, that's thanks to Christians, that's thanks to the detransitioners. And you're entitled to tell your story. You're entitled to share what's happened to you. But what you're not entitled is to be a pawn for hatred. And kid yourself not, that is all you're doing, is being a pawn for hatred. People are using your story and your mishaps and your surgeries gone wrong and your inability to handle hormones. They're using it to attack the trans community. They're utilizing a few of the younger ROGD girls that transition wasn't for them because they weren't trans, and they're using their story to attack other trans kids and to prevent trans medicine for certain individuals. That's wrong. That's just, you don't realize, or maybe you do realize what you're doing. So I find it disturbing. I find it disgusting. I find people like Blair, Buck Angel, Abel Garcia, Shapeshifter, all these people that are attention seekers and need to be relevant. Okay, because there's this need to go where the action is at. And I, on the contrary, I'm always going against the grain. It's funny because every time something becomes popular, I go against it. And it's not done on purpose. It's just that's how, that's how it is for me. It's like I go for the underdog. I'm not going to cheer on a bunch of individuals who want to crucify transsexuals or trans medicine because it didn't go right for them. That's not right. You're entitled to your opinion. You're entitled to share your story. You're entitled to say it didn't work for you, but you're not entitled to try to bring down trans medicine. And that's exactly what many of you, the Watsons, all of you, the Tulip, all of you that are sharing your story, trying to sue the medical system because it didn't work for you. That is what you're doing. You're trying to bring it down. Kid yourself not. And that's wrong because you had the opportunity to have your surgeries. You had the opportunity to venture out to try to figure out if you were trans or not. And because it didn't work for you, you think you could have that right to tear it down for everybody else? To create such a violent environment? You don't. Because many of us worked really hard and long to bring education on transsexual issues for you to tear it down because you couldn't handle it. Because you couldn't handle the fact that your surgeries went wrong, like Scott Nugent. You couldn't handle the fact that hormones affected you in a way that has made you unhealthy. You're trying to blame the system for your mistake. Maybe hormones wasn't for you because you weren't a healthy individual to start off with. Maybe hormones is not for you because you don't know how to eat right and do damage control. Because anyone on any type of medication, has to be very careful because all medication, from blockers to aspirins to anything that you take, will create side effects. That's just the nature of the beast because your body is a natural body. And anything that's chemical, your body will react towards it and not favorably most times. So if you don't know how to damage control, that means eating healthy, not drinking, not smoking, exercising, meditating, thinking positive thoughts. If you don't have that capacity and you're always upset and you're always defensive and you're always angry and you're always trying to create a ruckus, then of course transitioning is not for you, nor are hormones, nor are surgeries. Because if you're not healthy, your surgeries are not going to heal. So you can't blame the medical system for what you are creating in your life. The medical system just provides a service for individuals that are responsible adults, mature enough to handle whatever comes their way. So I'm sorry things didn't work out for you. I'm sorry that you thought that transition was going to be your savior. But now you're going from that to a religious belief. I mean, I've done it myself. It's part of individuals like us that have been traumatized from childhood. And trauma leads you to do sorts of things. Transitioning is not a savior. It helps you walk through life the best way you can. It's a coping mechanism that many of you can't handle. And that's okay. No one's putting you down. Fine, it didn't work out for you. You went through the experience. Now you want to get rid of it. But you can only get rid of it for you, not for everybody else. And you're feeding the Matt Walshes and you're feeding all these horrible people that want to see transsexuals deep down in a hole somewhere. So anyway, I'm not going to speak much more because I feel like I'm going to probably end up getting laryngitis. That's what usually happens when my sinus infections go down to my pharynx and it becomes swollen and it's hard to speak and eat and all that crazy things. But I wanted to say, I'm gonna not do the show. You know, Linda doesn't want anything to do with it because she can't handle, the arguments, the mud throwing, the way people can't even communicate civilized, and people have to be rude, crude, and just ugly, and there's no need for people to be that way, but she can't handle it. Like I said, I've been taking mud from both sides for the longest time. It just rolls off my back like water off a duck's back. But I'm me and she's her, and that's how it goes. But we've canceled. I had 2 shows scheduled and don't even want to be bothered with it. It's really, I've been at this since 2006. I've been advocating, transition since 2003. And I was just like advocating, educating, gone back and forth with the way I feel and think, and frankly, I am happy being me. I'm happy being spiritual. This whole Christian thing was the biggest mistake in my life. Detransitioning was crazy. I should have never done it. It was an experience. I don't recommend for anyone to transition. If you're going to detransition, I mean, it'll mess with your mind if you're not a strong enough individual. And detransition is not going to solve your problems either. For those of you that think that this is your next, God, whatever it is that you're making your, some people make transition their God, some people make detransition their God. It's not going to solve your problem. You have to go inward to solve your problems. You can't go to some sky daddy to solve your problems. You can't go to some group dynamics and find friends in your tribe somewhere. It's not going to help you. If you don't find that peace within yourself and realize that you're not going to please everybody in this world, you realize that problems aren't solved by buying material things. Problems aren't solved by altering your looks. Problems are not solved by external means. You can only heal from within, heal those childhood traumas, be good to yourself, meditate, eat right, exercise, and be grateful. Be grateful for what you have in your life, for the people that surround you, for the few that love you. And that's about it, folks. Everything else is BS. So anyway, I'll probably pop in here every now and then to do my rants, my solo videos or whatever. But, shows, it's like, what for? It's like you give people a platform to share their voices, and then you disagree with them, and then they, like Shapeshifter has made all sorts of stupid remarks and stuff, and making claims that I don't leave, the Cummings don't leave me alone. Now, we've made a few comments because of the stupid things that you're writing on your Twitter. You write offensive things and then you don't expect people to react. So you say things and it bothers people, they're going to say something going against what you're saying. That's how social media works. And if you can't handle social media, then you shouldn't be on it. All right, guys, I love you, but remember to always love yourselves too and each other. Bye bye.